What's going on, everyone? This is TentHut again every Thursday, 7 p.m. We are here.
And we are live.
Yeah, so we're live in 3 platforms: Facebook group, Facebook business page, and YouTube. So make sure you guys subscribe to our channel. So today we have Dr. Will Romero, veteran. He's been doing a lot of things. He's done a lot of great things in the past with helping veterans.
Yeah.
I know you've been in the political route too as well. So you have lots of knowledge, and I'm really grateful that
we're going to challenge that knowledge today.
All right, let's challenge it. One more thing that I want to add too. I totally forgot. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Thanks for interrupting me. But
well, you got to put it on me.
And so again, it's Thursday. This is a TentHut weekly show with a side of whiskey, guys. So salud. So I'm gonna pass the floor to you, Will. It's all yours.
Am I introducing myself?
Yeah.
I'm Will Romero. I currently work for DOD. I've worked for the USCIS Immigrations and also the Department of Veteran Affairs. I'm a strategic program and management analyst. I'm currently a resident doctor at USC, wrapping it up here soon.
Yeah.
And just glad to be here.
Well,
we're glad you're here, man.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Well, I was going to add also, Will is part of our board, so he's been one of the longest board members with TentHut.
That's right. He is our treasurer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He handles our finance.
Yeah.
So I guess it's now on record, because if anything goes wrong in the future,
Get this guy, right?
Yeah.
You got to blame it on someone. At least we can blame it on the Air Force,
Yeah.
No one blames it on the Air Force. It's always
we should. Right?
Yeah. Finally, we get to blame it on the Air Force.
We always throw it at the Marine. Come on, man. You know that.
Yeah, there's a blame hierarchy. The Marines, and then the Army, and then Navy, I think.
Hey,
something like that. No one blames the Coast Guard, because we always forget about them.
Yeah,
we don't have to blame them right now or to defend themselves. So let's just focus here.
Right.
What's funny now that they didn't just launch the Space Force. I'm talking about the Coast Guard. I don't know. I just Space Force just popped in my mind. They launched the Space Force boot camp. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I've been talking to a couple of my old students from when I was in drill. I guess they first recruited a lot of people from the branches, specifically the Air Force, Space Command.
Okay.
Kind of going away to be Space Force, of course, and then recruiting from other branches. And last I heard, they actually started recruiting and are going through basic training or processing Space Force.
The concept. It sounds funny to us right now.
Force cadets.
Yeah, dude, it sounds it just sounds foreign to us right now.
Yeah.
But I mean that's where we're heading.
Yeah.
We've landed it several times, not personally, but drones and stuff like that in Mars.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't too far fetched for another couple decades something to happen out there.
Especially with
I hope it happens in this decade, because the money that we're putting into this and Space Force, the development and innovation that Elon Musk has been doing. I mean, he's a brutal guy. I mean, if you ever met him, he's very direct. Like, he doesn't BS you. He doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't beat around the bush about the entire thing.
Yeah,
it was funny. I watched an episode. There's an episode with I don't know if you watch the show with Tim Allen, Last Man Standing, but he mentioned something about like technology taking over, but technology still prays to Elon Musk. So it was hilarious. He was like, oh no, humans, you don't know how to take care of yourself. Oh, hail Elon Musk.
Oh, I know you're talking about Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
The show Last Man Standing. That's where. Yeah,
that reminds me of the movie, guys. But
Yeah.
anyways, that's funny, dude. So yeah, it's interesting. But one of the things. So, anyways, switching the conversation. One of the things that I posted earlier today on the Facebook group on the TentHut, it was about this whole QVC, right? The VA plans to outsource all compensations and pensions exams. What do you guys think about that?
I personally don't like it. And I know you got a different. It's just that why would so if you're going to outsource it, basically, and you've done contracting, Doc. So it's like, why would you want to bite the hand that feeds you? I mean, if you're outsourcing, you're contracting it out, and the VA is expecting a certain return, like, they're. I don't know if I will trust the legitimacy of a lot of these return claims, because paying you to, I don't know. I would have to see the contract, because if I'm paying you to see these veterans and legitimately check them, but there's like small writing on the contract that says, you know what, you have to maintain a 40% approval rate or something like that.
Mm.
It's some sort of percentage of approval rate, so that they don't pass. I know that the government has some stipulation to that, dude. So as a contractor, they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. So they're not going to approve everything that they see.
Well,
of course.
Well, one of the things that I see is that I in your sense, I think that having that checks and balances, right, making sure that the veteran is actually getting that right treatment, even though they see a lot of red tape within the VA. Now you're putting it into the hands of contractors. Are they going to do their job and actually provide the right verbiage, whatever you say when they put it on paper when it comes to the VA compensation? So
go ahead, Doc. Go.
So first, let me start off with explaining the VA, all right? Because I think a lot of
remember I work for the VA, so
a lot of veterans get confused with the VA and how it functions as far as the umbrella, right? So to think of DOD, Department of Defense has the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and under the Navy they have Marine Corps, right? The VA is the same way. The Department of Veteran Affairs, like the DOD, has their own branches, and the branches fall into the Veterans Benefits Administrations, Veterans Health Administrations, and then National Cemeteries, which deals with once we pass away, right? So the main ones that we focus on, or that veterans need to focus on, is that if you want health care, then you go to the Veterans Health Administration, the hospital. If you need benefits or benefit claims, schooling, career, you name it, whatever benefit you're talking about, then you're going to the Benefits Administration, right? The big thing is that you have a big deficit in the VHA side of doctors. Most doctors that work at the VA do not work at the VA full time.
They're students or.
Yeah, because it costs the VA a lot of money to bring in a full doctor. Actually, one of the biggest research entity in the United States is the VA. The VA leads the way in health and research, right? A lot of people don't feel that way because of the delay on innovative ways, but it's because of the process to approve those innovative ways compared to outside private agencies. So how does that play a role? In 2017, I had a meeting with the VBA director here in the West Coast region. It was Anthony, I forget his name. But one of the things that we talked about was VBA process with claims, right? They wanted to implement something called the rapid disability claim, right? I believe
around within 60 days, something like that, right? It was like
90 days max to get seen.
Mhm.
But what he was shooting for is a 30-day scene that you're seeing, and then 90 days to make a decision. Now we got to think 3 years ago, in the previous administration, it used to take 6 months to up to 2 to 3 years for a VA claim, depending on the complexity of it. And it's not because of the fact that they couldn't find things on a veteran or figure out what that veteran had, but it was mainly because of the fact that the VA doesn't have doctors to provide
the resources,
quality evaluations, because they, like I said, doctors are only most doctors, not all, but most doctors are part-time, meaning they come in, they do evaluations, and they perform treatment or do surgery at another day. So they usually typically work 2 to 3 days a week, and then they have their private practice where they work 2 days and weekends, right? So to alleviate that, or to make that process to be 90 days, they implemented to go contractor outside. Now, the IG last year found that there was a lot of discrepancies, of course, because the VA, like I said, top leader of research, has demanded that the quality of evaluations be a lot more specific than a typical evaluation. Like if you went because you're feeling ill or something, they do an evaluation and you have la tos, or flu or whatever it is, and here's the pills, go away. It doesn't work like that. They actually have to produce enough evidence to the VA. Now, here's the problem that you're talking about, or where there's a gap in communication and people are not understanding. QTC is the leader contract, right? They're the ones that picked up their what would you call it? And now my business lingo is going away. They're a part of Lockheed Martin, right? Lockheed Martin has been doing contracts with the government for a very long time. So QTC is right now the leader in the contracts. I think it's $4 billion that the VA has surplus for this contract, for them to be able to perform all of the compensation evaluations. So what's happening? We're kind of worried about, we have some problem with whatever they do. The decision of the compensation is not made by QTC or any contractor. The decision is still made by the administrative evaluators at VBA. It's not on the doctor. So the doctor writes up his notes based on the checklist of evaluation that they have to deliver to the VA. Then the VA takes that evaluation to their administrative officers that perform the eval on what you have based on the criteria that VBA already has set. They will determine what your rating is. So if there's a problem with the contractor, it's going to be the lack of notes. So
that's where I kind of, because there's a lack of communication between the evaluators, the physician that you're going through, whether it's QTC or an outside contractor. Now that they're expanding that contract, not just to QTC, my problem would be the amount of information that a particular physician would have about this particular procedure. So if someone else is picking up the contract and they're not familiar with this particular evaluation, my issue is, if you don't know what the Veteran Administration is looking for, there's a lot of veterans that are going to fall through the cracks because they don't know how to put this verbiage that the evaluators that are or the rating evaluators are looking for.
So
what are you going to do? Are you going to provide a seminar and say, okay, if this is what you're looking for, this is the wording that you should use? Like
contract evaluators have to do training with the VA to be able to know specifically what forms to use, and the plethora of different disabilities that can be claimed. There's millions of different codes that
especially when you're talking about like not even the current, the current veterans that are separated from the military. You're talking about World War II, even though they're very few, but
So the big thing is, and this is what I tell a lot of veterans is, nobody's going to advocate for you more than you are. Nobody knows what's wrong with you. If you go to a doctor, any doctor, and you tell them, well, it hurts right here. Well, okay, so when does it hurt? Why does it hurt? What does it do? And you can't answer questions like that. When did it happen? The 5 W's, right? If you can't answer that before you go there, then you've already failed yourself and gave yourself a disservice, because you should be telling the evaluating doctor he only has about 15 to 30 minutes with you. It's not a long process. So you need to be ready to have him writing notes, and you need to advocate for yourself. As soon as they say, what is the problem? You need to be saying, why is it a problem? When did it happen? They do ask those questions, but you have to be very specific on what's going on, because as soon as you sound like you really don't know what's going on, then is there really a problem? Can you really sit there and say, well, it's his fault when you didn't advocate for yourself? You can't.
I completely understand. And I do agree that veterans need to advocate for themselves at every step of the way that you're asking for help. But in a bigger sense, like if you're going to a physician and you're expecting this physician to know his job, and you don't want to sound like you're coaching them on what to write on that particular evaluation, it's intimidating for a lot of veterans to walk into a clinic and say, hey, you know what? This is what's going on. This is how you should write it. This is what, when and how it happens.
You can't tell him what to write, but because that would be influencing the decision. And then is it scripted? Is this whole topic scripted or what? So you have to watch.
When I got the evaluation on my back, I have degenerative discs on my lower back. I have like 2 hairline fractures on some vertebrae. And he's just like, I know that it's painful now, but I don't know if it'll be worth fighting for now. You just have to get older and see where it heads, where it leads. And I was like, no.
What?
Yeah, dude.
No.
He told me, the evaluator said, no, it's just gonna get. You probably should wait until it gets worse when you get older. And I was like, no, it hurts now. You motherfucker.
And that's the thing. So like, my back was really bad, and it still is bad, and it's getting worse, and I have a rating already for my back. It's my responsibility to contact the VA and say, hey, this is getting worse. I need a new evaluation. So actually last week I had another evaluation, right? My rating is as high as it's going to get, but I need my stuff to be documented. And the doctor saw it, and he's like, hey, I saw your images and all stuff. And he had everything already. And he's like, hey, I'm looking at your spine right now, and it looks swollen. Like that's not even good. But that's the thing. Like, we got to advocate, right? This is a learning progress also for the people. And unfortunately, we're going to have to.
So here's my question. So these PVC doctors or these physicians, right, that contracted, do they have some sort of a knowledge and understanding, like what does a veteran goes through in the military, so they can have a better understanding? Because this is what I see. There's a lack.
But who does?
The QVC, when I went to the QVC physician, man, Oh, QTC. I keep saying QVC. What was it like the channel? What's that?
GTC.
Oh, damn, my fault. I don't know, but anyways, when I went there, the first time I went there, that guy did not want to help. Just him coming in, he's like, "What's your problem?"
You get some good ones, you get some bad ones.
Yeah,
I had an okay guy, like that.
I had a VA evaluator, and it's the same thing. I mean, you get some. All right, what's wrong? What's going on? All right, so what's wrong with your knees, or what's wrong with your back? What's wrong with your neck? You got to advocate for yourself because they see so many people, and unfortunately, and I'm gonna go on a little bit of a sidetrack, but that's the definition of socialized medicine. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get quality freaking healthcare. You're gonna get the best from some, and some are just gonna be like, it's my job. This is my job, and this is what I do.
Right.
Because of that,
whether you get better or not, I still get paid.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And the VA has been doing a great job at getting rid of these doctors. I had the privilege to work with the VA on getting rid of some surgeons out at Long Beach, when I worked for somebody. But it
so good.
At the end of the day, if your doctors are, the big thing is their vision is I care, right? The VA, or their motto, I should say, or we care.
At least they do. I work at the West LA VA, and they do. No, they're good, dude. I mean, and it's a teaching hospital.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah. So if you're going to West LA VA, I mean, 80% of the time you're going to get somebody that's they're doing the residency at VA hospital. They're still learning. They're still trying to gain their path through in medicine. But they'll let you know, like, hey, you know what? I'm a resident. What's going on? I am not a vet. And sometimes you'll get the veterans that have gone through medical school and doing the residency there. So
let me ask you a question, man. Since you've been in with the VA system back then, you've been there for a long time. What's some of the things that you think that should be improved on, as far as now? There's a difference. I want to focus. Let's focus right now on the medical side of things, not the administration side. So I know the administration, there's a lot of fucking red tape on it.
Yeah.
But let's focus on the medical side, right? Because I know there is a hospital, Kaiser, it's trying to follow the same process as the VA.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep hearing, I used to work for Kaiser before, right? But there's a lot of freaking red tape. There's a lot of things that people don't like, but let's talk about the VA. What do you think?
And just with the healthcare, because when we go in a tandem with BVA, that's a totally different block, right? Yeah. Like I said, the branches. Now we're talking about branches, right, of the VA. With the VA has come a long, long way. And I think they did a great job at cleaning house. There was a lot of old school doctors. Maybe I saw a lot of old school doctors maybe till 2017, like mid 2017. They started cleaning the house. Right. Because a lot of doctors were kind of like, well, I'm just here, I'm doing my job. Well, what are you going to do, or they would throw. I honestly, the reason that I started helping out, because some of them were throwing the whistleblower stuff, and I get it. If there's a problem, there's a problem. But when you're showing me, when I'm seeing records of you not performing to the standards of the VA or the standards of other doctors, that are doing amazing work, then at that time, it's like, okay, this has nothing to do with you being a whistleblower. This has a lot to do with you not trying to keep up.
Right.
One of the things that I've always said, and some of my mentors have told me that are doctors, right? It's the doctor never stops learning. You don't. That's the thing about being a doctor. It's that you're so persistent in constantly learning, and constantly.
That's why I joined the research team. I mean, that team on the VA side, I'm on the VA research part of although I'm in the mental health portion of the VA research side, but they're constantly learning whether, doing things differently.
Are you allowed to talk about the
research side?
No.
So that's the thing. Like, you have amazing people working at the VA, right? But for a while back then, you had a lot of medical providers that were just there because they were there, and it kind of, and it got, to the point. There was a person that was a doctor that was there 28 years.
Wow.
But the big problem was that first they threw the whistleblower thing out there, so that put a halt to the VA trying to do anything. And it came to the point where, why are we even stopping the production? And when we start talking about business side, right? We always look at operations. You're an MBA too, Pilazo.
Yeah. That's
hey,
what I do for research.
We look at production, right? How much are you producing, right? How much are you helping? Are you improving the quality of a veteran or not? Or are you just, hey, nice to see you. What's wrong? Oh, what kind of pills do you want?
Yeah.
I've heard that. I've heard doctors said, well, what do you need? Like, I don't know. I'm not the doctor. I'm not the medical doctor here to prescribe it. If that was the case, I'll find my own notepad. Just give me your prescription pad and I'll write myself a prescription.
Well, I'm gonna share something real quick, and I'm like, I might open up a little too much, but so not too long ago, I went to the VA because my back pain was just unbearable, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted something more than just physical therapy. I wanted either a massage therapy, chiropractic. Now they provide a chiropractor. Chiropractor is just something different, because I've been going to physical therapy for too long, 2 months. And it just wasn't working. So I went to my primary. My primary wasn't there, so they put me to a nurse practitioner. Anyways, although she was good, I don't want to dime anyone out. I'm not going to name any names. But anyways, she's like, okay, well, would you be okay with Norcos? And I was like, no. Have you read my chart?
Yeah.
And this is where I might open up. I have been in rehab twice at the VA. Mm-hmm. And if she were to read my chart, you would know that there's somewhat of a chemical dependency with Norcos. And it was like a really bad experience. Like, I was like, no, you give me Norcos, and it's not going to be.
Was your body saying no, but your mind was saying yes?
Yeah. Backwards. My body was saying yes, but my mom was like,
Kelly, hey, throwing some R. Kelly out there lyrics. Yeah. You know what? I have the same problem. At Percocet, it keeps me up for days. 36 hours on one Percocet. It's really bad. So what I did is on my Healthy Vet, you can actually add your self-diagnosed
dependency
allergies.
Oh, okay.
So if you want red flags for the VA, like for me, it's I don't want them to give me opiates, right? So my red flag automatically is, I'm allergic to this stuff, right? Because it causes adverse reactions. You're allowed to do that. If it's not making you feel better,
I had no idea.
It's an allergic reaction. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people think that an allergic reaction means that you break out into hives and you're dying, going to the ER. But it's not. An allergic reaction is something that your body does not accept the way that it's intended to be accepted, right? So don't think of allergies as just hives. Think about it in a different way. That's how I would say to,
like a broader way. Yeah.
Correct. To say, hey, you know what? I don't want you to give me opiate. I don't want you to give me Norco because I'm dependent on it, and it makes me, a certain way. For me, the anti-inflammatories just mess with my stomach, which causes me to get GERD, and then I got to take GERD medication, and then acid reflux medication, and then that makes me constipated. So then they give me.
We're opening up.
Then they're giving me stool softener, and then they're giving me this, dude. And then you end up, and then veterans end up with a freaking grocery bag, walking out of the VA with a grocery bag of 18 medications that you got to take in the morning, in the afternoon. And you tell me how that's supposed to be good for you. It's not. So we go again back to that same thought process. You have to advocate for yourself.
Yep.
And you got to also think about this. Back to the topic. There's not enough doctors at the VA, right?
Right.
There's a lot of resident doctors that are doing a lot of work. They're being trained to be great providers for America. That's great. But at the end of the day, they only have 15 minutes to see you. And they schedule you out in increments of 15 minutes.
Right.
You know, I've always talked to the VA about this. I brought this up many times when I used to be in politics, right? I brought this up many times. Why are you not hiring data entry personnel that assist doctors, like a doctor's assistant, right? To be able to say, hey, you have this veteran, he has these allergies, he has this chronic pain of whatever you're going to be seeing him for or her for, because the doctor doesn't have time. It's like 15-minute increments. How do you have time to annotate anything? How do you have time to put in prescriptions? How do you have time to, it's almost impossible. And they go to, hey, put in this prescription for this person. And then by the time
hold on, how would you have, and I get it, and I know they need more personnel, but how would you have two individuals? I mean, the doctor has already sworn an oath to keep your information private and to do no harm. They've already done that. So you're going to have two individuals, one of them entering whatever it is that you're saying.
Do you have public trust?
You got to put them through HIPAA training.
Well, everybody that works at the VA has every single body. It doesn't matter what you do, has to have HIPAA training.
Yeah, I know. Having two individuals, one of them's not even a nurse, and they're just like a scribe at a courtroom.
Well, here's the big thing, okay? There's a lot of people that have associate's degrees that are medical assistants. A lot of people out there. Why isn't the VA picking up these people? And they know medical terminology, and what is it called? This is, and here we go back to the MBA side, right? The business side. Let's talk about money, okay? Why would I pay somebody 100,000 plus, all the way to 400,000? Because like oncologists make about 400,000 at the VA. A full-time oncologist makes about 400.
And it's crazy because even if they're at a GS 15,
there's no GS for doctors. It's not that GS is not for doctors. That's for administrative side.
Oh, okay.
They're on VPN something category, whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna tell kids right now. I'm talking to the kids right now, the future doctors of America. Go and be an oncologist. These guys make the most of anybody. 300.
I thought it was anesthesiologist, honestly.
Oncology. So here's the thing. Why would I go pay somebody 100 plus, right? So let's say it's general practice 180, right? Why would I pay them instead of for writing things when I can pay somebody a GS7, GS9 to write stuff, to annotate doctor's notes and have the doctor validate them? It takes 5 seconds for the doctor, takes 15 minutes for that person that does data entry, because they're proficient at that stuff. Why are we wasting taxpayer dollars to pay a doctor to sit there for 15 minutes to write your notes? You see what I mean? And the problem is that they get behind, right?
What are you gonna talk and pay or what?
Well, no. Why? They're doing their job. Now they're able to see more people. But this is the difference. That instead of a doctor being behind, and now they take the next patient and say, hey, I'll catch up on my notes later on. Why are we?
They've already forgotten what they were going to write anyways.
Exactly. So then you get, and sometimes I'll, when I see a doctor, and don't tell anybody I said this. It's live.
You're live.
We're live.
Here we go. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Whenever you go to the VA, you have the right to ask for your medical note for the day. You have the right.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know.
You have the right to ask for your records. Okay. Will they give it to you right there and then? Most likely they won't, but you'll get it later on from, guess what? An admin. So back to that conversation. Why are we paying doctors to do this type of work? They should be doing doctor work.
Doctor work, yeah.
Not admin work.
Well, so you think
there's some a level of documentation that has to be done as a doctor, but let's use our money more effectively than anything, right? That's my thought. But,
so you think that it's going to lower the cost by having a data entry person working with a doctor with it per?
What's a GS7 in LA make?
I don't know.
What's GS9?
State government. I'm not federal.
A person with an associate's degree, because
they're making GS7 makes about 25,000-30,000.
And so for you to be a medical doctor's assistant, is an associate's degree. It's a 2-year degree, right? So let's see, GS7.
Yeah, they're making about 20,000 to 30,000.
A little more than that, I think. In LA, you got to think of our cost of living, right? So GS7 in LA, step 1 is making $49,390. All right.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Just damn it.
Yeah. So you have an admin that has with the associate's degree, you can start off a medical assistant as a GS5 with a potential to promote to GS7.
Yeah.
It's an associate's degree employment, data entry, helping out the doctor with his notes, with whatever they got to do, right? I mean, there's a code that that has to be followed too. You got to look at whatever the board of doctors says that they can allow an assistant to do, but it gets to a point, that it costs less to allow somebody else to write stuff. That's just my thought. But
that's kind of like using the lean system, right? Like you think you're gonna waste more money, but you're not. On the long run,
by Six Sigma, bro, black belt.
Yeah. I've done that stuff too, But
no, sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. It's just that it's especially in this particular government entity, there is a lot of money being wasted on. Honestly, it's useless jobs. Or useless individuals filling positions that aren't doing the optimal for that particular.
Hold on, whose fault is that?
Well, politicians, no.
Not politicians, because they're not hiring the lower end.
I want to blame them just because I wanted to do that.
That is the administration's fault, because their HR should be asked for when they're writing down a job description. Job descriptions are prime when you're a federal civilian employee.
Yeah, don't get me started with that whole job description stuff.
Because if the description does not have what you need to be doing, then guess what? You're limited to whatever that description has. Under OPM,
right.
The Office of Personnel Management specifically states that you need to be describing exactly what that person is going to be doing. It's not like corporate, so corporate, they always throw in the and all others, right? That doesn't work in the federal government. You have to be,
specific.
It's very specific. So HR needs to be very specific so that when they hire an individual, they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
But see, that's the problem, that communication between HR and knowing what the job.
But it doesn't even have to do with what the job specific criteria is because you walk up to the VA and anywhere, I guarantee you, almost everywhere in the country, and just approach the front desk and ask them a question, and the level of customer service that you're receiving is, what do you want? The fuck?
Well, you know what?
I just asked you. I just asked you where oncology is.
Jose, though, you know what? And I'm gonna tell you because you work at West LA. You work at West LA, and I know exactly what you're talking about. You don't have that stuff in
Loma Linda. I go to Loma Linda. You don't get it.
You don't have that in Long Beach. And you know what? I talked to the director out at West LA back in the day, before it was who is it right now?
Steve.
It wasn't a Michael or Michael.
Steven. Now it's Steven. He actually just joined the VA maybe less than a year ago.
Well, I hope he listens to this, because I'm going to tell you what Long Beach did. Start firing people.
Yes.
I'm serious, man. Like, if you don't want to be there, to work at the VA, you need to love veterans. You need to understand that they're disgruntled people. You need to understand that they might be 20, but they're living on 60-year-old bodies because we've been busted.
The other day, small little story. The other day,
man,
I had a procedure done for my GERD, right?
Yeah.
And they installed like a little pill on my throat.
Yeah, the little micro thing.
Yeah, it's called a Bravo. pH.
Anyway,
yeah, it does. It makes you feel like you have something stuck in your throat the whole time.
Yeah.
So after the study was done, I had to take my little machine back to the doctor. I had to take it back to the front desk. So I'm waiting in the line. I even waited for maybe 15 minutes. And then I waited about 5 minutes right in the front. And they didn't call me. And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to turn this in. And she turns to me and says, I don't know what that is. Well, maybe you can help me out. Why? That doesn't go here.
This is West LA. Is this West LA?
Yeah, it's West LA.
Hey, look, I went to West LA. So I had an ex-girlfriend that lived in Marina Del Rey. I had really bad back pain, dude. Like, I'm talking about 9 to 10 that day. And you know what I'm talking about, because it sometimes flares up.
Yeah,
I went to West LA, dude. I'm like, hey, I'm in like crazy pain. I went to the ER because, of course, they can't see me after hours anywhere else. Yeah. They patted me down to go into the ER at West LA.
What?
Patted me down.
Why?
And they made me stand up against the wall so I can be patted down. This is West LA, dude. I have my veteran ID card. I have all my identification saying I'm a veteran, and they patted me down, dude. I'm in a wheelchair because I can't even walk. My ex-girlfriend had to pretty much carry my ass in, and they patted me. They made me stand up to be patted down. This is West LA, man. It's a West LA thing, and I'm sorry to say it, the worst service I've
worked in Building 500, bro.
Hold on. I
don't work in Building 500.
We heard of that so much. So that's the reason. I want to say, look, in Loma Linda, man, it's like the best thing. Like, I go there, get to my appointment. See, no issues. Like, I seriously, like,
good. They talk to you, hey, what's going on? How you doing? You know, all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but they get it. You're in the city, right? So I think it has to do a lot with the environment too, because man, that place is like busy.
It is the culture there.
Yeah.
It's a horrible, horrible culture that they need to beat out of people there.
But here's the thing: you cannot blame the VA though on the West LA, because look where it's at. Look at LA, though. Look at LA. LA,
you can get good quality people anywhere, dude. It's happens.
Just LA, man.
People are rude in LA, yeah. They kind of rude. But you know what? In West LA, they need to fire a lot of people there. They need to fire a few people that are really performing horribly so that they can prove a point. and then people start adjusting because they see, okay, I got to change or I'm going to get fired. You know, I'm not saying fire everybody, but there is a bad culture. And the doctors there, honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth. I went over there for a procedure on my spine, RFA, radio frequency ablation. It's the most painful procedure I've had because you're awake and they're pinching your nerve, cutting your nerves and burning them. And the doctor was amazing, but God, the people that work at the window, wow, they like, what do you have? The people that they gotta be right here. Why are you coming to the window without somebody, without your? I'm like, they're parking. They'll be here shortly. Okay, well, we gotta wait for that. Just sit down. Like, what, dude? Come on! But the doctor was awesome.
I was in the West LA. I stayed there for an entire 2 weeks because I had. Okay, this is a funny story. I had a paper cut and it got infected, and then all of a sudden,
it's not a funny story. Bro.
No, it's not. Look, I had that poisoning coming all on my body. If it would have hit my heart, I would have been done.
You know why?
But anyways, why? Go ahead. You're gonna say something stupid.
You got funny hands.
Bitch blood, bro.
Yo, man, you shouldn't be talking, man. I got a lot of stories.
This is how veterans talk to each other.
I know. But check this out, right? So I was there for 2 weeks. I seriously, I lucked out because literally I had great service. Even though waking my ass up every 2 hours because they were giving me antibiotics, they would have said I would have died, but that shit would have hit my heart. Yeah, but I seriously gotta say that I had a great experience one time in the West LA. Mm-hmm. Other times, yeah, this shit was horrible.
You know, and for the viewers right now, like this might sound like a bitch fest about the VA system, but no, this is informative because you know where to go or you know where the problems are, and if you want to sign up for a particular VA organization or hospital, go to one that works.
Well,
for vets.
It's not a bitch that's abused.
Let's reel that back in. I'm gonna say
because it does sound like a bitch fest.
No, it's not, because if you're in pain, you want to get taken care of, you know.
Listen, yes, exactly. Why would I want to say, hey, let's move from where you live so you can go to a better VA? That's BS. They're getting paid. They're getting tax dollar money just like every other federal employee, and they committed to serve.
But that tax dollar is almost solely dependent on how much enrollments it have on that particular VA.
Here's my advice, all right? Because there's people that are being paid to do this, all right? You have an advocate office.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody is like talking to you like, what do you want? Go report it, because everybody else is probably saying, oh, I'm not going to bitch about it, but it sucked. Well, yeah. Well, what's the point, man? Like, go bitch about it. The people.
I had no idea that existed, bro. That's the first time I hear this.
People, American people are paying for us to be seen.
But even going to that particular office, you get bitched at too. Like,
like IG in the military.
Yeah, like IG.
Hey, look, and I'm going to tell you one thing also about the office of at the advocate's office. Don't only go to bitch. If you get amazing fucking service, take your ass down there for 5 seconds on your way out and drop off a note. Write a piece of paper. Doctor so-and-so, nurse this, the scheduler in the front or whatever, the admin in the front treated me great. They were amazing people, very generous. They asked me if I needed help. Write a freaking story for that person. Help that person out, because we need more people like that. The problem is that we only go and bitch about things. We tend
to take action based on negativity. Yes, and that's human nature, right? Like, a lot of people do that. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
You know what it does? It promotes that person, or at least it helps them get a better rating for the year so that they can be happier and stay. But we lose the best people because they're not happy to be at the VA based on the way they're being treated.
Why don't you have an app for that? Like, instead of going to an office, just do like a Yelp review on a particular, like.
Well, we were just talking about doing something like that.
We were talking about something like that, dude.
Go to the advocate's office and drop off a piece of freaking toilet paper if you want.
It should be like VA advocate.
Hey, we have. Didn't you hear? We have a shortage of toilet paper. I don't think they can use toilet paper.
Whatever. All right, look, there's actually pieces of paper all over the walls that says if you have a complaint, take that freaking thing and write a freaking beautiful note for somebody. Next time you're at the VA, go to the VA, look for the greatness. Stop focusing on the negative. Look for the greatness. Look for the great employees at the VA and drop a little note to the advocate and say, this person's doing great. Yeah. And you know, if somebody's doing shitty, write another one that says, but this dude was a shitty freaking person, treated me like crap, said, what do you want?
It just wasn't welcoming.
All I know is that when I go down to the you work at the downtown.
Yeah, I work at West.
I'm gonna write a shitty ass note.
West LA or downtown?
Don't write a note for me. I don't work at 500.
Okay, so let's shift.
West LA or downtown?
So let's shift fire though. So let's talk about the administrative stuff, right? Here's the question I have. I know. This is a long. I'm pretty sure we're gonna go over.
I think we should definitely call that one for another time because you know what? One thing that I want to talk about is the education side of the VA.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I can go on forever.
The VBA side, the Veteran Benefits Administration side.
We can definitely do a part 2. But so here's my question as far as like implementing a new protocol for the VA. I noticed that, I work in government too. I work for the state. And every time when you're trying to give your 2 thoughts and 2 cents and say, hey, how about you try this new technology? Maybe it's going to simplify things. It's going to, make things streamline the process. What's going on here? Like literally, like, come on, you're working with veterans, you're working with a lot of people. You have a huge budget.
The lowest bidder, man. So
but still, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, what I'm not adjust to.
What do you mean? Say that again. Repeat the whole statement.
Say there's a system that happens to work for the VA, but it doesn't optimize your performance. It doesn't optimize the way that you work. It doesn't, it doesn't help the veteran. But it does on a certain level. It does what it's supposed to do, and it does the administrative side of computing.
But we just talked about using a lean system, right? And it's all about making.
I'm not even going to get into VBA. I'm going to go just straight the medical side. I mean, listen,
that's what I'm talking about.
We were talking about a process improvement, right?
Yeah. That's exactly
as an analyst, as a management program analyst, this is what I do. I look at your process to try to figure out a way to implement something new. The way you do it is you look at how people do certain things and you map certain processes. Big thing is the questions that you ask when you're interviewing people, right? What do you do? What's the first step? Well, the first step is this. Okay, but you don't do anything before that. No. Okay, moving on. What's the next step? All right. Well, what did you just do right now? Because you're showing me and you're doing something else. And that's how you map a process. Then you put a timing into the process to be able to do a time in motion. How long is it taking you? Okay. Once you do that, then you establish a process that is most effective and most efficient. This stuff takes time.
So make that change. How long does it take?
To make that change, it could take 3 months all the way to a year, 2 years. Depends what change we're trying to make.
In the government, it does take that long.
Well,
if you were to go to any other company, private entity.
Listen, in the private sector, it could take that long too. Depends how. Excuse me. How long?
Depending on the complexity, depending on what kind of technology you're using. And I understand that.
Think for me to see the process of something. Some processes take a long time.
Yeah.
So if it takes 6 months to process something, right? How long do you think?
I see it this way.
How long is the mapping going to take me? 6 months, because I have to identify every single step.
But don't you have to go through your channels, and then what if the channels say, hey, I don't like it? Then what?
That's the thing that you have to talk about with management, and you have to have very strong personality type person to be able to advocate for what the process is.
And you have to be able to provide them with an incentive. You have to incentivize them to say what you're currently doing.
That's not the biggest problem. That's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is culture, because after you get approval to change a process and you write the SOP and you deliver the SOP is approved, and now you implement the process, or you're ready to implement that process.
Yeah.
Now you got to train people that are doing this process, right? So the biggest part about this is going to be the training part. And what happens a lot is that people forget about that. Here's the SOP. This is what the new process is later. That's not how it works. Training is the most important part of any process change, improvement, whatever you're doing. Training is vital. And I preach that like it is no other, because if I sit there and I just, here's the book, read it, did I really do my job? Did I make sure that people understand what they need to be doing now? That's a problem. And here's another one. A lot of agencies, well, we're going to change the process. Okay, did you write it in a policy? No, we're just going to change it. What happens when you have word of mouth? I mean, we've done experiments in psychology thousands of times, right? Where we talk to somebody at the end of a rope, we whisper something, and then 20 people later, you get something totally different.
Right.
And I saw that at immigration when I was at immigration. Literally, I said, well, are we going to write a policy change, or are we going to write an email at least to say the process in writing? No. And guess what? Everybody was doing exactly something totally different, because all they did, my supervisor told me this. Well, my supervisor told me this. Well, my supervisor said that. And then guess what? At the end of the day, everybody's doing something totally different, and we look like a bunch of clowns. Right?
See, people say it's about communication, lack of communication. This is exactly what it's not having the right
policy implementation. This is the difference in the corporate world. It's about hurry the hell up and get it done, right? And I'll be there to show you real quick how the hell you need to do it and get it done. That's the totally difference, because now
minimize expenses so that
we're at will, right? When you're private sector, you're at will. You're not cutting you can't pick this up later. See you later. You can go get somebody else, pay them less, pay them the same, or pay them more, or whatever. But I need it done now or yesterday, right? That's why Elon Musk is so successful, because he's private sector. He's not federal. Yeah. It works in the operation.
I'm so happy with him.
It works. It works in the operations side. It works when you're talking about operations. But it doesn't work in the federal side, because we have to have policies that implement specific rules, right? The things that we need to follow, the steps we need to go by. Because as a federal employee, you have a position description, right?
Right. Yeah,
you have to follow that. That's the law. And then people say, well, I can do that. Yeah, that's great. But you're going to get in trouble because that's not your job. That's the federal side. That's the easiest way to get in trouble. Well, why did you do that? You're not even qualified to do that. Why are you doing that? Well, you're not supposed to be doing that. Does your job description say that you're supposed to do that? And here we go. We're in trouble, right? So people avoid that. So the way you eliminate that is by implementing writing policy, SOPs, policies, and I mean, if we need legislation change, then I mean that needs to be addressed with Congress and all that stuff. But that's a different topic. But that's the way it is. I mean, and people don't realize that change has steps. You can't just force change. You can't just sit there and say, I need you to do this way now. Okay, but when it comes to the law of primacy, the way we learned it the first time is the way we're going to always remember it. Now I have to beat that out of somebody, and not physically, but
that comes to
remove it from their brain. I have to implement something new, and when I think about this, I think
it goes back to what you were mentioning earlier, which is training. You just train it out of.
But and then that's the thing, in the government sector, and I can speak about this too, is like, conformity. I'm used to doing this way. I'm just gonna keep it doing this way, and that's it. You know,
The worst thing I can hear as an analyst, as a management program analyst, and changing processes, the worst thing I can hear ever is this is how we've always done it. Yeah, we used to also calculate things with it. We used to hire a person called a calculator or a computer, and they used to do all the math. But now we have Excel that I can punch in a bunch of numbers, drop them in from some other database, right? And now I can calculate millions and billions of numbers in 10 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
That's the big difference, right? So are we going to go back to the way we've always done it? No. We need to move forward.
We have to.
What do you,
that change.
Yeah, you can go back to the abacus. Like, hold on.
I would like to do that.
3 million.
my thoughts with with veterans, look, I always tell every veteran that I talk to, I'm always have my open door to help out any veteran. And if they ever want to, hit me up on DM or whatever, on a social media or whatever, I'm always gonna point you in the right direction. I'm never gonna hold your fucking hand, because first of all, I don't do that. I empower veterans to advocate for themselves, because I don't know what's wrong, and it's none of my business what's wrong with you. I know that you need to go seek help from the professionals that are there to give you help, And lastly, I want to throw this out there. The VA, when you file a claim, you are in essence suing the VA, saying, hey, I got this from the government. Now I need compensation for the problems that I had. So don't think that the VA is there to help you when it comes to a claim, because you're suing them. They're not gonna be there for you. That's
I love how you put that.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, dude. Yeah. So, and don't give up on the first settlement.
No,
don't give up on the first settlement, because it's
your right.
It's your right. If you don't like the first settlement, then appeal it.
Yeah.
You keep putting in claims and say, no, that is not what my compensation should be. But it's interesting, going back to your first statement, which is holding the veteran's hand. And when we started, and you saw this, when we started TentHut back in 2017, that was our cult. That was our culture. It was like, no, we have to take our veterans and we have to show them exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
And walk them to that every step of the way. But I've learned through this process and the nonprofit sector, working with other organizations and things like that, that's not the case. And it goes back to the old idiom of you can take a horse to water, but you can't force a motherfucker to drink
unless you push him in the stomach. But
in California, we got to do the avocado straws now. Hey, but you know what? That's the big thing for me, and I'm always gonna give you exactly enough that you need, but at the end of the day, I can't do it for you. Yeah. First of all, I don't have the time, because I got to deal with
and what our most successful veterans that TentHut has helped has been where, hey brother, here's the information, here's the place that you need to be. Honestly, I have other things to do. How you get there, it's on you, man. And I've shown you the path, and it's how you get there that you will get the help. But I'm sorry, but you have to figure it out on your own. And it goes to show what you've been saying throughout the conversation is like you just can't walk every single veteran by hand, and they have to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the thing, and I noticed that the ones that want to get better, that wants to actually succeed in life, they're gonna take your advice and they're gonna push. There's a lot of them that just say, you know what, and I guess it gets to that point where you just kind of lose hope, right? Like the individual lose hope, but you can't help them. You can't help them throughout the entire process, right?
What?
Yeah.
which is and I think it's about time to wrap it up. But it goes to, and I'm going to get a little political right now, but
don't let's get let's
no,
start.
no, because I have to say this. It's on my mind. I have to say it, and it's a bullshit statement where the mayor of Los Angeles was saying, Mayor Garcetti was saying, we're going to end homelessness. You can't do it.
No.
You just absolutely can, because not everyone wants help.
Yeah.
Let's table this one for another conversation. I definitely want to talk about homelessness. You know,
Part two. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you got a lot of information, brother, and I thank you so much for you chiming in. I know you've been in boots on ground from the political side, from the VA side. I mean,
and literally boots
on ground. And this is what I tell people. You know, like, you know, your opinions is awesome, but have you been in boots on ground? You know, that's how I am. Like, that's how it is. Like, I'm not gonna give you my 2 cents unless I've been in boots on ground, and I'm not gonna force you to believe in my opinions unless I've been on boots on ground. And that's one thing about us. Like, that's how we are. Yeah. We're gonna share our opinions, and we're gonna say, and we're gonna debate because we've been there, right? And that's the thing with you, brother. And that's why I really appreciate the fact that you join us. And I'm thinking that we're gonna make like a 4-part series on about this, because there's a lot of things that we need to address. You know,
homelessness within veterans, and definitely education for veterans. We need to talk about it, because you know me, man. I got every degree and certificate.
I'm almost there. So
I gotta finish. I gotta finish my MBA. So that's okay.
Yeah, I got a 2 of everything, and I mean, I took a sabbatical from my PhD, but I'm with you on education, dude. If you want to move forward, that's where it is, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
But we'll table it for next time. Hopefully you can join us again, Doc. So
yeah, definitely, guys. Everyone who's been watching us, thank you so much. Remember to subscribe for the TentHut on your YouTube channel. I did posted the link. And thank you so much. If you have any comments or anything that you want to put out, or anything that you might help us with the topic for next time that we're gonna get with Will, Dr. Romero, actually, let me know. I'm just gonna say, bro, you deserve it, brother. You deserve it.
Salud.
But yeah, join us again next Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, TentHut. All right, guys, take care and good night. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.